So, honorable members, I'm pretty much sure that you guys did see the question that was sent in the group. So, this is what we're going to be looking at in today's lesson. But most importantly, guys, I think I've come up with the best way of making sure that you guys can still be busy at any given time during the day. So, in today's lesson, we are just going to solve questions related to this question. But one thing for sure, tomorrow I am going to prepare a very special lesson where I present my notes regarding analytical geometry, so that I will know that even during the time of exams, you will still be able to catch up on that lesson, not only at a time when the tutor is available, but at any time you will be able to watch it live without having to download. But I think in the meantime, let's quickly try to have a look at the following questions. But most importantly, I will obviously read through the given statement. I am suspecting that some of you might not have two devices to refer to the question. What am I going to do? Okay, it's not really a long statement. I will just read it out. But it is that image that I sent in the group, and it reads as follows. In the diagram below, referring to that diagram, they're saying P. Where is P? That P has got 7 and 4, and then Q, where is Q? There is Q, they're saying it has got 6 and 6. R, where is R? There's R, it has 0 and 3, and then S, there is S, it has T and K. They're saying are the vertices of quadrilateral PQ, R, and S. So now the first question says calculate the length of PQ, and they say leave your answer in SAT form, and this is allocated 2 marks. They want you to calculate the length of PQ. There is P and then there is Q. So obviously, whether we calculate the length or the distance, we use the same formula, which says x2 minus x1, you close, you squared, and then you are having y2 minus y1, and then you close, and then you square. And this, it is therefore equals to, this is where now you substitute. So A, B, C, D, F, G, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. So P comes first, meaning this is going to be x1, y1, the second values are those. So that means x2, it's going to be 6 minus, what is x1? It is 7, close squared, plus y2 there, 6 minus 4, close squared. Let's see, obviously this is 1 squared, it is just 1, plus this minus this is 2, 2 squared, it is what is 2 squared? I think it's 4. So finally you are having the root of 5, and the question said leave your answer in SAT form, and this is how it looks like in SAT form. Did that make sense to everyone in terms of how we answer that question? Guys, am I breaking? Or it is the message which is taking some time to deliver? I'm not sure if you guys understood what I've done there.
So it makes sense.
Okay, Gitu, 100%. So I am just going to remove all of that. But before I do that, let's just write that there and say this is the square root of 5. So this is what I'm going to do to remove all of that, and then from there we move on to the next question. So let's see. The next question says if T, They're saying if T is 7/2 and 7/2, if that point is the midpoint of QS, determine the coordinates of S. Now, already you can suspect that this point, it has to be somewhere in the middle, maybe somewhere there, such that from S to that point T, it's equals to from T to Q. This is where now you are going to use the midpoint formula. Why? Because they said that point is in the middle of QS. And we know that the midpoint formula says M is equals to, obviously for the X values is X1 that you plus it with X2, you divide it by 2. And then again, the midpoint of the Y values is going to be Y1 that you plus it with Y2 and then you divide those by 2. We already have an answer in this case, which is that point there, 7/2, 7/2. So the middle point, it is 7/2 for the X value. Equate it to, you can equate it to maybe that point being T, that you need to plus it with the other point being 6, and this is divided by 2. Maybe let's work out this one and see how far we can go. So can you see, you are obviously going to cross multiply, and then as you cross multiply, the 2 is, it's more like you're saying 14, because that is 7 times 2 divided by 2, it's equals to T plus 6, and this is equals to 7. So you are still having that. You take this to the other side, it's more like you're saying 7 minus 6 is equals to T. 7 minus 6 is 1. So T is actually equals to 1. And then you do the same there. Can you see the Y value also there is 7/2, same as the X value. This is therefore equals to, you can say K, that you need to plus it with the X value there being 6 again, divided by 2. You cross multiply, it seems like we're having the same thing there, because now this is 7. You take this to the other side, is 7 minus 6, which is equals to K. Then that means actually K is equals to 1. So that means you're having the coordinates of S having 1 and 1. And by so doing, you score yourself 3 marks for this question. I'm not sure, honorable members, I'm not sure if that made sense to everyone. Something very much important, honorable members. In the end, you need to say S is 1 and 1, because that's what they wanted you to calculate. So that means you will score 1 mark for correct substitution, and then the last mark will come from you presenting the final answer in the correct format, which is S is 1 and 1. That also, did it make sense to everyone? Sipokazi, Zuma, Amanda, I see Mzos on the line, Itu and Apelele. Did that make sense also, honorable members?
Sorry, sir.
Yes,
Mhm.
Sir, why did you substitute the 7/2 by the M, by the midpoint, like the M?
Okay, it's because according to that statement, we are having 3 points, Q, T, and S. Name. So the question is, which point is in the middle?
It's T.
Yes, it's T. So that is why I'm substituting the T in the position of the middle point on the formula, because M refers to the middle point.
Oh, thank you.
100%. So just always remember that. So it's more like Examiner won't say there's a point and there's a point, and they won't say calculate the midpoint. Sometimes they give you the midpoint so that you calculate the other point, and that is the tricky part. But it's easy because you've seen how it's done. So, everyone okay with that calculation, honorable members?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So now, very quickly, I am therefore going to remove all of these, and then we move on to the third question. And that question, it is what is it? 3.3. Yes, 3.3. But most importantly, let's not forget that actually the coordinates of S, it is just 1 and 1. If you want to know that your calculations make sense, obviously you're expecting a positive x value and a positive y value. And again, you're expecting values which are below that and that. If, for example, you get 7 and -7, just know already it's wrong because this is the first quadrant. Okay, so now let's see. They're saying if the coordinates of S are 1 and 1, show that P R is equals to QS. This is what they want you guys to show. PR, where is PR? There is P, there is R. They want you to show that it is actually equals to QS. Trust me, guys, when it comes to this type of a problem, for QS to be equals to PR, they have to share the same midpoint. Those are what we call the diagonal lines. So another way of showing it is simply to prove that the midpoint of PR also is going to be the same as that one of T. Before I start with that calculation, do you guys understand what I'm explaining there? Does it make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Are you sure, guys? Does it make sense to everyone?
Okay, so please re-explain it one more time.
So every time when you have a rectangle, the lines inside, which is from corner to corner, that line is equals to that line in length. So that means the distance from there to there, it's equals to the distance from there to there. So because these lines are equal, that means they share the same middle point. So that is why I'm saying I think we can show that in two ways. The first way, let's show it this way. So let's calculate the distance of a PR, the first option. So that means we're going to say PR is equals to, let's straight away substitute. What is x2? Maybe we can say x2 is 7 minus that x1 being 0, you close, you squared, plus y2 being that one 4 minus that one being 3, you squared. So now let's punch all of this on a calculator and see what answer are we getting. Can someone assist with a calculation there? And then we're also going to calculate a QS. So for Q and S, maybe this second value, so that means we're having 6 minus that one being 1, you close, you plus it with that one there again, it's 6 minus a 1, it close that. And then what is the distance for that one? What are you guys getting there? I think this one, this minus that is 5. 5 squared is 25. Also, this one is 5. 5 squared is 25. So 25 plus 25 is 50. So it's more like this thing is actually the square root of 50. Is this one the square root of 50? 7 squared is 49.
Yes.
This minus that is 1. 1 squared is 1. So it's 49 plus 1, which is square root of 50. So does it make sense, honorable members, in terms of us showing that actually PR is equals to QS?
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. Sir, so sir, if like, should we leave it as like square root of 50, or can we write it as 5 square root of 2?
5 square root of 2. Okay, 100%. You can still write it as 5 square root of 2. 5 square root of 2. When you punch it on a calculator, it is actually going to give you that. So you will still get a mark, but I think in your case, just make sure that you leave it in that format, in the simplest format. But one thing for sure, you will just score a mark there and there. Because in this case, it's just a matter of showing that actually the answer that we get for PR is exactly the same as the one that we get for QS. That is actually the main goal. That is why even if you do not write it in that format, in that simplest manner, you will still get a mark. Because what we understand is that you got this and you still got the same thing, which proves that actually PR is equals to QS. That is the reason why you will still get a mark if it's written in that format. So very quickly, let's try to check if indeed RP is going to have that midpoint. So this is where now you're going to say M. You use it this way because you are looking for the midpoint. So let's see, maybe let's say 0 there, that you plus it with that being 7, you divide it by 2. And then for the y values, you're going to say that one being 3, that you plus it with 4, obviously divided by 2. I think already you can see that this plus that is actually 7 over 2. And again, that plus that is actually 7 over 2. I'm not sure if it makes sense, guys. It's more like I'm saying for your information, just know that when you are having diagonal lines, that means they are equal in distance, and at the same time, they meet at the same middle point. Does it make sense, honorable members? Hmm?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, 100%. So, with us having calculated that, what did we actually calculate, honorable members? We just calculated that from there to there, it's actually the same as from there to there, which is what? 5 the root of 2, and also that distance, it is 5 the root of 2. So I will just remove all of that and then we move on to the next question. So let's see very quickly. Let's see the next question being 3.4. What is 3? So 3.4, is it 3.4? Yes, show that QR is perpendicular to RS. This is exactly what examiner wants us to show. That QR is perpendicular to RS. Where is QR? There is Q, there is R. We need to show that it's perpendicular to RS. So it's more like we're trying to show that you are having a 90-degree angle there. How can we possibly show that, honorable members? If you remember what I explained regarding analytical geometry, I said with regards to vertical lines, so that means the gradient of line 1, when you multiply it with the gradient of line 2, they must give you -1. So that means we will need the gradient of that line. Let's maybe very quickly calculate it. We know that the gradient is change in y over change in x, which is y2 minus y1. So let's see. Y2 there, we can say 6 minus y1 being 3 there, divided by x there being 6 minus 0. What is this? I think this is 3 at the top divided by, at the bottom is 6, which is what? This is 1 over 3. Then that was the gradient of line 1. Let's try to calculate the gradient of line 2. And then now,
Sorry, sir.
Yebo, did I make a mistake somewhere?
Yes, it's a half, not 1/3.
Oh, yes. Yes. Thanks very much, honorable member. 1 over 2. Yes. So let's have a look at this one. That one, we are looking at those two. So we can maybe say y 2 there being 3 that you minus with that one there being 1 over there you are having 0 that you minus with 1 there. What is that? I think that is 2 over this one. It's actually -1. So it's more like we are having -2. So let's see, when we multiply line 1's gradient, which is what? Which is a half. When we multiply it with the gradient of line 2, which is -2, does it give us? I think it does. It gives us -1. It does give us -1. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see. You can therefore conclude to say, yes, QR is actually perpendicular to RS. I'm not sure if it makes sense, honorable members. Mzozozo, I'm not sure if on your side it makes sense or if it needs to be re-explained again.
Makes sense, sir. Thank you.
And imagine with you doing that, they just give you a 4 marks. And that 4 marks comes from you actually using the formula correctly. For calculating the gradient, obviously, with you getting that answer there. And again, I think for you to get that answer, you deserve a mark. Where else do you deserve a mark? I think there you also deserve a mark. And with you remembering that, you will actually need to use that formula. That's where you score yourself a mark as well. So very quickly, again, let's move on to the next question being 3.5. I think this is a chapter that you guys will be starting with the grade 11s, not necessarily starting with, but I think it's part of your term 2. So that means we will have to spend as much time as possible on this chapter. I can tell you now, if you understand this chapter to the fullest, you won't struggle in grade 12. You will therefore concentrate on things going forward. So it's more like it won't be only myself working it out this way. So we're going to do this, do revision, do this, do revision. And the reason to that is because I have realized based on my analytics that most of you guys struggle to download the recorded lessons because sometimes it's almost half a gig, which is too much. And sometimes you are looking for that specific lesson, you download half a gig and you don't find exactly what you are looking for. So what I'm actually going to be doing, as much as we record these lessons, we will still record the lessons and post, but I will have a recorded lesson similar to what you guys saw. I think it was yesterday or day before on Saturday, yes, where you are able to see the question paper and I guide you on how to answer the questions. That is going to help during the times or the days of exams, mzozozo, where you won't need to wait for 6 past 8 or 8 o'clock for a 1 hour lesson. During the day, you can still be catching up. And then around the normal time where we do lessons, we just discuss all that you did not understand while you were catching up. I think as time goes on, it will make some sense. So let's see, they're saying hence, what type of special quadrilateral is PQRS? And they say motivate your answer. It has to be a rectangle. It has to be a rectangle. Why? Because diagonal lines are equal. Diagonal lines are equal. So that means with this being a rectangle, every rectangle have got equal diagonal lines. Same applies for a square. So that's how you score yourself 2 marks for that question. I'm not sure if it makes sense, honorable members. For you to say it's a rectangle, and with you giving that reason, that's how you score yourself 2 marks for that question. Does it make sense, guys?
Yes.
Aphelele, are you okay that side, honorable member? I see Sipokazi is on the line. Zuma, are you okay that side, honorable member?
Yes, everything's fine.
Okay, 100%. So now I'm just going to remove all of these and then we move on to question number 3.5. So let's have a look. No, it's not 3.5. I think that we have covered. We are now on the last question being 3.6, which says calculate the size of a angle S in triangle RSQ. Yes, that's what it means. The size of a angle S in triangle RSQ. Where is that triangle? There's R, there's S, there's Q. So we are actually looking at that triangle there. And they want you to calculate angle S being that one there. So maybe let's call it angle theta. The question that you need to ask yourself every time under analytical geometry, when they talk about an angle, ask yourself a question to say, am I having a right angled triangle? If an answer to that question is a yes, then it means you can use tan, sine, or cos. In some instances, you can also use theorem of Pythagoras. It's applicable when you are dealing with a right-angled triangle. And of course, it is a right-angled triangle because this line is perpendicular to that line forming a 90-degree angle there. This is where now you need to ask yourself a question to say, which trig ratio will be suitable? The question now is, do we know the length of that side? Yes or no? Do we know?
Isn't it
Yes, sir.
What is it? Oh yes, we do know, honorable members. We do know what that
yes.
is because we calculated it is 5, the root of 2. Remember, this is R, this is Q, and this is S. So, do we know what that side is, or do we know what that side is? Remember, this is allocated 3 marks.
RS is square root 5.
RS is square root of 5. Hey, how do you know, honorable members? How is it square root of 5?
Its opposite sides of a rectangle are equal.
100%. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So that means this side is opposite to that side, therefore equal. This side is opposite to that side, therefore equal. So that means we are having square root of 5. So now, which trig ratio can we use there?
So can you not use cos?
Let's see. A cos of an angle. We know cos is equals to cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. So now what are we having? What is adjacent? Obviously is the root of 5 over what is hypotenuse? Is that one opposite to the 90-degree angle, which is 5 the root of that. So that means an angle is actually equals to second function of the root of 5 divided by 5, the root of 2. What angle are we getting there as an angle of that?
It's 71,57.
71,57 degrees. Is that correct, honorable members?
Yes, so it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I actually wanted to leave it there and say exactly at at what time? Let's say exactly at now it's 1907. At this time, at 1915, let's try to have a look at what you guys can do as a classwork. That means the lesson for now it's going to end, but I'm going to give you another problem that I will analyze, which is how going forward we are going to be doing a revision. Someone has got their mics unmuted. You do remember to mute your mic, honorable member. So I just want us to test if we won't have any difficulties. And then tomorrow, guys, we are going to have a special lesson where I'm going to present that introduction. And then after introduction, it's going to be similar Saturday, where I go through all the questions related to analytical geometry, different types of questions where I'm guiding you on how to answer those questions. So that means since we are approaching examinations, we won't rely on just 1 hour lesson. It's not enough. It's not enough. It won't be enough. Leslie, I so wish that we can cover as much information as possible, but we should within a short space of time. So what I'm saying is, on that lesson, I will go through all the questions, do an introduction, and then we catch up based on that. Then on our next live lesson, we discuss questions which were difficult. In that way, we avoid having to do this question today's lesson. Tomorrow we do another question. That other week we do another question. That other week. So it's a month on this same questions, whereas it can be done in just a week. So that means if it works for our maths lessons with the grade 12s, no grade 11s, we won't only do maths lessons Monday and Tuesday. We can still do on Wednesday and also Thursday and Friday, where live lesson similar to the one that we're doing today. It's going to be discussing where you guys are having some challenges, because I think it is about time where also you guys get involved and try to work out these problems and have some challenges. And then now when we discuss the challenges that you guys are having. So I think I will leave it there so that I can prepare for that to actually start at that time. So guys, I think let's leave it there, and I'm just going to sign out. But I think the code for today's lesson is going to be, again, whatever that you learned out of today's lesson. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if there's anyone who's got a question before I end the lesson, but obviously you can see I've signed out. Anyone who's got a question? Moleboge, I'm not sure if you've got a question, honorable member.
I'm okay. I entered the lesson while it's ongoing, but I'm okay.
Okay, 100%. I think, Moleboge, I did explain to you why all of this is necessary. For example, you joined in the middle of the lesson. So for me, because I've done this lesson, let's say you did not understand and you wanted to understand. It's unfortunate it wasn't going to be done again, but we're going to move on to the next question. But with the approach that I want us to apply, it's more like, even though it is done, this one, you can still request for it to be more like played again, where you can watch it live again, and not only at a time where or when I'm available. You can just say, I'm going to be studying tomorrow around 12. Can you please maybe play for me so that I can revise? Then I can just arrange for it to be playing at that specific time. You watch, then on next live lesson, that's when you can ask the questions. So it might be breaking on Telegram, or it might be not necessarily breaking, but taking some 1 second off and whatever. I think the best thing that I'm going to do, I will give you an option to watch it on Telegram, and again to watch it on YouTube, but it won't be there on YouTube once it's done. It will be removed because it's not for the public, but it's for all the learners who are attending my lessons on Telegram. So you can either watch it there or click on the link that will open a YouTube where you can catch it. It will just depend on where you find it suitable. So guys, thanks very much for joining. I've already signed out. Just remember 1915. Be ready to join that lesson. So guys, I'm out.